Life Detox Day 1. So I have been so excited about this day coming and just everything that's going to happen. I'm going to spend this day sharing, starting out, what even prompted me to do this was I was in the fight of my life in the hospital, and I was sitting up one day. It was a day that the pain was pretty much, the doctors had me, pretty much the pain under management, and the Lord dealt with me on detox. And I was like, yes, when I get out of here, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm a detox. But then the Lord said, no, life detox, and I want you to share this with everybody. And the word was, do not delay. And so I was, I'm a planner by nature. So I wanted to put together a summit right away and all of that. And I needed more time to really plan it and have it the way, done in excellence, the way I wanted to do it. And the Lord kept saying, do not delay. So here we are, day 1, Life Detox, with none other than Michael Cozart. He'll be talking tonight about thoughts that produce. I'll let him introduce himself, what he does, and we'll go right into it. Feel free to drop your questions in the box, and we'll get those answered as we go. Or we'll, I don't know if we can read them because the way ours is set up right now, but somebody will read them to us, and at the end we're going to open up for Q&A. It's not going to be very long, informal setting. We're actually sitting where my studio, I'm actually getting ready to set this up as a studio this week, or starting next week rather. So without further ado, Michael Cozart.
Hello, Happy New Year from the Cozarts. Again, I am Michael Cozart. I am man, I'm blessed. I am married to this beautiful woman sitting to the left of me. 22 years this year. Been dating 24 years.
23 years, going on 24 years.
So
no, we've been married 23 years.
So this is this. We have this. Who's been dating what since you went there? So my starting date is. January 28th is the date that I say that we've been dating. So if you watch me on Facebook, I'll say happy anniversary. We've been dating this long. But her date is February 14th, which is the day that she said that I asked her. I technically had to ask her to be my girlfriend. So we celebrate 2 days of our anniversary. So again, Happy New Year. I am an educator, lifelong educator, life coach, motivational speaker, minister, ordained minister. I pastored the greatest church this side of heaven.
Yes, we miss
Cornerstone.
Them so much.
Happy anniversary, Happy New Year to all our Cornerstone family.
Yeah.
And again, I'm the sidekick. I'm a rider. I'm the ride and live guy for her. So we're talking about thoughts that produce, and so the definition of detox is a regimen of treatment intended to remove toxins or impurities from the body. And since we're talking about the mind, talking about detoxifying your mind. How do you detox your mind? So my pastor, when I met this guy 20 something years ago, Bishop Jack, Elder Jack at the time, he would, every first of the month, he would go on a fast or a cleanse, and he had the cleanest, pure skin, and he did this detox. He did this fast, this detox every month. He did a detox, and it helped cleanse the body. And so we're talking about detoxing the mind. And so how do you detox your mind? What does it mean to get rid of toxin in your mind? There's a term, stinking thinking. How do you get rid of stinking thinking? And so I really want to talk about that on today. I got a lot of notes, and I don't have a lot of time. So how to detox your mind? I think it's important, one, to first evaluate who's in your ear. We get toxins, or we get the thinking that we get from our environment. Sometimes you can be in an environment that can produce stinking thinking or ill thinking. If you are in a place where there's no hope, uh, there's no faith, or there are people who I used to live in the projects, and a lot of times I had people that were in my environment, and um, if completing high school, completing high school was the goal, or making it to 18 was the goal. Maybe didn't have goals or aspirations beyond what they could see. And sometimes people can be limited, or they need to have that cleanse of their thinking because of their environment. And so you got to watch and evaluate who's in your ear, who's speaking into your life. What are you listening to? We listen to music and songs and go to messages, and who is speaking into your life? What is it that you're listening to? I'm one that I don't watch scary movies, and so it's not that I'm weak or I'm a punk. I just don't. I don't want that fear injected into my spirit, because I'm of the generation with our Saturday morning cartoon special said, "You are what you eat, from your head to your feet." So I don't want fear to come into my spirit, because God's not giving us a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind. So I don't want fear injected into my spirit, because I don't want to walk around here scared. So evaluate who's in your ear. Examine your true thoughts. A lot of times today, people have made resolutions. I'm not a resolution person. But a lot of times, January 1st, people make New Year's resolutions, and the industry has taken advantage of it. I'm pretty sure you'll see commercials for the rest of the week. Fitness centers, come get your New Year, come lose the weight, come do what you got to do, and they'll offer you on a special. And people go in and say, "I made a resolution, I'm gonna lose this weight, and I'm gonna go to the gym, and I'm gonna sign this membership, and I'm gonna go 2 times, 3 times the most," and then they never go back. And then but you're still on this contract. And so we can say something with our mouth, but if our heart or if our thought process doesn't match what's coming out of your mouth, it's not going to happen. So you got to examine your true thoughts. And then you have to make a change. You have to begin to make a change. Listen, change is hard. People are scared of change. A lot of people, they just say, "Listen, they want to do things, they want to go places, but they don't want that change." And change is hard, particularly if you're in an environment, that does not, or that's not conducive to growth. And so you've got to sometime watch what's in your circle. There are people that can be in your circle that their thinking is not. They have that stinking thinking, or they're not looking at growth. They're complacent, or they're content with just what they have. And so you've got to make sure you got to guard your spirit. You've got to guard. And I ain't really trying to get churchy, but a lot of this. A lot of this is biblical or spiritual, and then some of it is principle that we're going to be talking about today. So I'm not trying to go spiritual, but your thinking and your thoughts, it really is a spiritual thing.
Yes, it is.
And so those are things that you got to do. You got to guard what's in your spirit. Listen, if you got people in your ear telling you that you can't do something, if you're, I used to tell the congregation, and I tell this to my students today, you got to get a fave 5. Who's in your fave 5? If the 5 people that are closest to you, where are they? And if they're not doing, if the 5 people that are closest to you or have the greatest influence on your life aren't in a place that you want to be, or they're somewhere where you don't want to be in a negative way, they're going to pull you down. And so you've got to guard yourself against your environment. And sometimes you got to get away. Sometimes you got to pull away from the people common, or things that may be common to you. You got to pull away from that, because I don't believe that we're common. I don't believe that God made us to be common at all. So these are some things that you do to detox. And then how to replenish or renew or restore or refill or build up. And so how do you do that? I want to share something with you about computer systems. And so, if any of you are techies or out there, you know what I'm about to say. A reboot, the process of working a computer system, restarting is known as a reboot. Rebooting is sometimes necessary to recover from an error or to reinitialize drivers or hardware devices. A reboot may also be cold or hard, meaning the power was physically shut down, then back on, as well as warm or soft. And so sometimes you got to do a reboot. You got to shut down some stuff and do a hard reset. And that could mean getting rid of and separating yourselves from what was. And so, and then, begin to read, beginning of the year, January 1st, listen, read Proverbs. There's 31 chapters in the book of Proverbs. Read Proverbs. If you just meditate on that, if you just read Proverbs 31, one chapter a day, or a book of mine, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill.
Thank you, Mary.
You've got to begin to put something in, so if it's, and when we're talking about thoughts or things, you got to understand that your thoughts are things. Proverbs 23:7 says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Something that Napoleon Hill, I got out of the book from Napoleon Hill, success comes to those who become success conscious, just as failure comes to those who indifferently allow themselves to become failure conscious. If you want to be successful, you've got to think, you've got to meditate on that. The Bible tells us to meditate on these day and night. And so what is it that you're meditating on? What is it that if you're thinking, or if your most dominant thought is about failure, man, that's what you're going to get. If that's what your most dominant thought is about,
yes.
If your most dominant thought is about being successful and being productive, then that's what you're going to get. There's a poem that says, if you think you're beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you'd like to win but think you can't, it's almost a cinch you won't. If you think you'll lose, you've lost. For out of the world we find success begins with the fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. If you've got to think high, you've got to think high. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure you've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win the prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but sooner or later to the man who wins is the man who thinks that he can. What are you thinking about? Mm-hmm. What's your most dominant thought? And again, you've got to surround yourself and make sure that it's people in your ear, people speaking in your life. I mean, even from your church, what is it that you're hearing on a constant? What are you hearing constantly? Are you hearing that you can, that you will, or are you hearing that you can't? We've heard people say you're gonna be just like your daddy. Your daddy wasn't nothing. You're gonna be just like your daddy. And if you're telling your child that on a regular basis, your child is gonna be just what you said they are. And so these are things that we have to shed. These are things, and so it's the same way. If you tell your child you're going to be successful, you're going to be great, you're smart, you're beautiful, you're intelligent, that child walks around with their head high, knowing that they can. If you tell them the opposite, your child walks with their head down, defeated, with a defeated confidence, and they already know, because you've told them, you've spoke that into the spirit, that they can't. Wow. And they won't, and they'll be just what you said.
Wow.
And so it's important what we say. And so thoughts, the words that come out of our mouth, all of that is intertwined. You become what you are because of the dominant thoughts in which you permit in your mind. And so I want to talk to you. I want to challenge you about the way that you think. You've got to begin to see yourself as the Bible says that we're more than conquerors. The Bible doesn't say we're conquerors. It says we're more than conquerors. So you've got to see yourself as more than a conqueror. You can't walk around here with a defeated personality, because it'll reflect in everything. If you walk around here defeated, the people will treat you defeated. You go on your job, they'll treat you defeated. But you got to walk with the confidence and with your head up high. It's not arrogance, it's with confidence. You know, you got to walk. You got to know who you are. My former pastor told me, Dad Vaughn, he told me, son, a long time ago, you never dress for where you're going. You dress for where you want to go or where you want to be. He told me this 27 years ago. You always dress for where you want to be. And it's like, and those little nuggets, those little things. And so you've got to see yourself in such a way that nothing in life can stop you. You are your own worst enemy in the way that you think, or the way that you view yourself, or you can be your greatest ally in the way that you see yourself, because others will see that and feel that. Oh man, Proverbs 16:3. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. And so listen, again, I'm not trying to go churchy, but it's a spiritual thing. And so I want to encourage you to commit your ways and your works to the Lord, that your thoughts shall be established. God was a God that thought something, he spoke it, and it came to pass. Yes. And since we're made in his image, we have that same ability to speak it, to think it, speak it, and watch it come to pass. There's a difference in there's a lot of research that's in people who are rich and people who are poor, and people who are poor have a way of thinking, and people who are rich have another way of thinking. The people that are rich are affluent or successful, they think on a totally different plane. They think, they walk, they talk, they act on a totally different plane, where people who are not think on another level. And some of it's systematic. Some of it is systematic. It's been set up for us to for people who are minorities or lower than. I hate the word minorities, but we use it. But the word minorities are less than. So if we call a group of people minorities, well, we're already speaking they're less than. I mean, I read this article today, and I read this article today about dollar stores, the Dollar General, or not Dollar General. Well, they just talk about dollar stores and the big boom of Dollar General stores, and they researched from 2008 to 2018. And so what happened is in communities, in urban communities where there were not a lot of grocery stores or super chains, you had a lot of dollar stores, and so there were and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Dollar Tree is the newest one, but Dollar Tree now they've taken over the market, and from 2008 to 2018, you see these stores skyrocket, and they're in places where they're low income, and so what happened is people who go to like these dollar stores to begin to buy groceries, and they begin to do this, and it's like it's almost setting a mindset. When you look at where the dollar stores are, they're not in affluent communities. Think about it. They're not in affluent communities, and if you do happen to go to a Dollar Tree in an affluent community, you're going to see a difference in the Dollar Tree and the products in the Dollar Tree in an affluent community versus Dollar Tree in the hood. So I've been in a city where the Dollar Tree in the affluent community had a freezer, and it had frozen foods, where the Dollar Tree in the hood, it was just like no frozen foods. And the quality of the store, even the quality of the stores. A couple of weeks ago, some friends in Oklahoma, a local pastor was even talking about what was going on in the conditions of the store in Oklahoma, that there was no heat. Come on. So a lot of this is thinking. we're talking about, and so for the next couple of days, we're talking about relationships, and we're talking about excellence, health, wealth. It all starts in your thought process.
Yes.
As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. If you're in a relationship and your thinking is in such a way that it's low or your affect is low, that's how the person is going to treat you, and then you'll constantly go back to that type of relationship. Excellence. If that's where your mindset is, you'll stray away from excellence, even health and wealth. Yeah. I was diagnosed with diabetes 2 years ago, and immediately my mind shifted. My wife changed my diet. And my A1C went from 10 to 6, all in a matter of 3 months. Yeah. Thought process. Healthy. And so it takes 21 days. There's a saying, it takes 21 days to develop a habit. It takes 90 days to develop a lifestyle. And so listen, I don't want to talk as you're
somebody type that in.
As you're looking at making a change, I don't want you to just go to 21 days. I don't want you to just go to 21 days and creating a habit. Let's talk about creating a lifestyle. We need to. And so what happens? My wife changed my lifestyle, and she changed the way I ate. And I wasn't eating bad before, but I just and so she said, listen, you got to do this to live. And we changed, we modified some things, and things I didn't eat, the healthy things that I didn't eat, I had to eat, and my blood sugar went from 10 to 6. Went from 10 to 6. Habit, lifestyle. And so listen, as you're creating your vision boards and doing all these things, listen, I want you to begin this 90 days to create this lifestyle. We need to be looking at lifestyle change. How do we change our lifestyle? How do we modify our lifestyle? It becomes with our thinking. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. I got one more scripture there's really 2 scriptures, and then I promise you I will be done. Philippians 4:18. Finally, my brethren, whatsoever things are true. So we talk about that thinking. How do we change that? Whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things of a good report. If there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. Listen, if you're like, man, what do I start thinking on? I just gave you what to start thinking on.
Yes.
To change that mindset. If there be any, whatsoever things are true, honest, just, pure, lovely, good report, start thinking on those things. And I'm going to stretch you past the 21 days. I'm going to say, do that for 90 days. Do that for 90 days. Think on something different to begin to create a lifestyle, to create a lifestyle to get you to that next level. See, listen, I'm one that believes I don't care where you come from. I don't care where you start. I don't even care where you are. We are in a new year. And so you got to take on a new mindset and begin to see yourself in a different place. You got to begin to see yourself in a different place.
Wow.
It comes in your thoughts. How do you do that? Think on these things. So that means if there's something that's bad, that's false, that's negative, that's ugly, stop thinking about it. Oh man, I'm all into your stuff today. I want you to change your thinking. You've got to change your thinking. If you can change your thinking, you can change your life. There have been people that have been that have had diseases that were doomed for death. And they thought process changed. Their thought process changed. And what happens, sometimes the doctor can tell you something, it'll change your whole process. You'll think, whoa, and you start shutting down. I bind the devil in Jesus. Woo. Listen, you got to start thinking yourself in a different place. I don't care what I don't care what the doctor's report is. I don't care what they say. See yourself different. See what it is that you want to see. Say what you want to see it, and start walking it, start talking it, start confessing it, write it down. I know I got to go. And the next thing is this, and this is spiritual. But 2 Corinthians 10:4-5, it says, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. And see, these things that are happening in our heart and these things that we're thinking about, a lot of time there's strongholds. And these strongholds will keep you in such a place. Poverty is a stronghold. Whoa. Poverty is a stronghold. Stinking thinking is a stronghold. And you've got to listen to what the Word of God says. It says that but the Word, it says, is mighty to God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations, thoughts, imaginations, things you're meditating on, casting it down, and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bring it into captivity. What? Every thought. Every thought. It will bring. It will. It says that these. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. So listen, I'm telling you this. I want to challenge you. I want to encourage you. If you got some stuff going on in your head that you need to get rid of, you start meditating on. Those are 3 or 4 scriptures I've just given you that you can start meditating on, to start bringing down some strongholds and some things that you need to get out of your life, because we are victorious. We're more than conquerors. Spirituality and principles. You got to understand this, that principles are a general basic truth on which the truths or theories can be based, and they're scientific principles. There's a law that says what goes up must come down. And so what happened is men got these principles from the Bible and they used those. What is my scripture? Mark 11. Mark 11. It says, oh my God. It's a principle. Jesus said, have faith in God. Whosoever shall say to this mountain, be thou removed, whoever shall say to this mountain, be thou removed, and not doubt in your heart, but shall say to this mountain, if you say it, that's a principle. He didn't say if the believers of me. He said, for whosoever shall say it. And so they're principles. Principles work regardless of who it is. Mm-hmm. And so we as saints or believers, we use the Word of God with principles, but anybody can use principles and accomplish what it is that they want to accomplish. So I just want to encourage you on today. Listen, that you got to change your thinking. You've got to see yourself as victorious. You've got to see yourself as more than a conqueror. You've got to see yourself as an overcomer. You cannot allow the enemy, the world, your environment, your mama, your daddy, them, anybody else in your life to keep you in a stinking thinking place. You got the ability to rise up above that and begin to walk in a level of victory and power and dominance. And so with the thing that the thoughts that are in your mind are on a dominant basis, or is what you will have, believe, and accomplish.
Well, from there, I mean, man, that was powerful. One of the things that stood out in particular is when you were saying what the song you sung, the little show that you all used to watch, and what is the saying?
You are what you eat, from your head to your feet.
Right. And so that part, that very first part, you are what you eat. And, if you ever go down my line and see my memes, one of the things that I was talking about is your thought process. And that thought process and how it produces how you react to things, how you act, decisions that you make, things that you speak. And so all those things coming together in relationship with each other, it's like a threefold cord. What your thought process, what you speak, and your decisions that you make. It says, the word talks about a threefold cord is not easily broken. If you take a twist and twist it and try to come through it, it'll just come apart. But if you take a braid and put it together, when you put your finger in there and try to come down that braid, what happens is that braid gets tighter. And so it's the same thing when you put those 3 things together. Your thought process, the way you speak, and your decisions. And it all starts with your thoughts, because your thoughts affect what you begin to speak. Your thoughts affect what you begin to, the decisions that you make. And it affects the people that you choose to be in your life. I mean, it's like a ripple effect. And so you have to put those 3 things in relationship and bring them together and walk that thing out. Other thing that stood out to me, the takeaway that I really took was the one, and I just had it in my head and I lost it. I asked somebody to type it out. It was when I got to the part where I said, type that out. 21 days. 21 days to create a habit. 90 days to create a lifestyle. I love it. So thank you, Mr. Kozar. I'm so glad that I had you over here tonight. I say Mr. Kozar, but this is my husband. what do you say, 23 years, 25 years dating come the beginning of the year. So I can't imagine doing, life without him. I couldn't think of no other person. Each person that'll be coming from this point on, they were chosen to be. It was when I prayed about it, and the Lord chose these people to speak, to come to you. So I invite you to come back tomorrow night. Please drop your questions here. We're going to get on here and answer any questions that you may have. Share this video. I do know that we had to turn it sideways so we both could fit in tonight. But
get close.
Yes. So make sure you share it. Drop your questions here, comments, things that people could go back and read, points that stood out for you. Type them so people could take those notes. And thank you for joining us tonight. We look forward to seeing you on tomorrow, 6:30, with none other than Beverly Smith, who's going to be talking about the power of relationship. So please come back tomorrow. We look forward to seeing you. Happy New Year, everyone. I saw all your comments on Happy New Year. Thank you. And I love you for coming and sharing this night with me. I really appreciate it.
So listen, I have a song list. I've created a song list that I play that in the song so that I can get this stuff in my spirit. And so I would encourage you to get a song list of something. We those of us that grew up in church, there are some old church songs. I'm going up the rough side of the mountain. God ain't told us to go up no mountains. God told us to speak to those mountains. And so what I'm saying to you is get you a song list of something that you can get into your spirit, that can encourage you, that can help you to begin to walk in victory. Guard yourself. Yeah, guard yourself against your environment. You got to.
I love that.
Listen, you're victorious. This is just the beginning. This is day one. This thing is just going to get better and better, gooder and gooder. And man, there's no stopping to where you go, where you can go, what you can be, what you can do or have. Speak it, think it, speak it, and begin to walk in a level. And listen, do it unapologetically. Do it unapologetically. Be blessed.
All right. Y'all have a good night. Thank you for joining us. All right. Love you guys.